Oh, well, I guess our
Well,
music
that
isn't going to play
deserves
today. So I was gonna load. I don't know if you know this, but there was a bunch of like term updates. Oh, why do I have a card thing?
I don't know.
Hold on. There was a bunch of like updates and stuff to StreamYard tonight, right as I was setting up the video. So I think that's part of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I went to play the music intro, it was like, "Hey, put in your credit card here for upgraded
Oh,
whatever." You know what I mean?
I got it ready.
So
We
I'm
can
like,
still kick it off
"Okay,
that way.
yeah, I know. Go for it. Play it."
All right. 1, 2, 3. How do you let's see. There it is. Oh, please reach out to the team owner to upgrade the plan.
See if we can't. Maybe we can't play that one now.
Oh my goodness. They took
That's
away our stuff.
weird. Yeah. How strange, huh?
That
Anyway,
is kind of strange.
yeah, because if you click, yeah, it says core, dive deeper into streaming, share your video clips. Free plan comes with example clips. If you'd like to upload your own, upgrade your plan. What a bunch of buggers.
Yeah, I mean that was an intro. It still says you can add an intro video, but I don't know. Yeah, it says
Or maybe we got to
access
add
to
it.
intro and outro videos requires a plan upgrade now.
Buttheads.
The man trying to keep us down.
No, just trying to take our money. I guess
I
that's
guess
kind
so,
of the
yeah.
same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, yo, YouTube. Welcome back to the live show. I am Adam with the Dollar Box. We've got Charlie, JC3 Cards and Collectibles, and some Stewarts. I think there's a few Stewarts laying around here.
There are a few Stewards.
I have Winter Stewart over there, but I've got Basic Stewart here. Summer Stewart in the short coat. Still loud. They're still loud. Just knock some cards over, of course. Let's see. What do we have to talk about tonight? So we got update on the Goat Show. We've got our charity finally pinned down. That was a bit of a project, but the girls did a good job on that. So we could probably bring that up right away, talk about that.
We can
So
do that.
for those of you who don't know or new to the show or haven't been to the card shows that we put on, we always tie a charity effort to it as part of our community agreement or our community involvement. There we go. Now I got them. I had some stuff falling over here, so I had to throw a lifeline real quick. Anyway,
Everything okay over there, Adam?
Yeah. So we pinned that down. You won't see it on the flyer yet. We don't have the updated flyer yet, but we have a charity within a local native group demographic here. I guess is probably the best way to put it. And we will be working with them to make a charity effort on their behalf. So looking forward to that. It's fun to, I think, get some new charities here and there. You know, there's always kind of like the standard ones at a lot of stuff, you know, Make-A-Wish and blah, blah, blah. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those, but I think sometimes it feels like some charities kind of get left behind. They're not as, you know, hot a topic, if you will, or high a topic. And I think it's nice on our side to try to look for something that maybe doesn't get quite as much attention and try to give them something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So look forward to that. We've got who's posting on here. Oh, the wife. That was all the amazing Jenny with her efforts. We are honored to partner with Oneida Nation and their emergency food pantry. So there you go. So yeah, we'll be collecting food items, which I always like that as an effort because it's easy for people to participate. Almost everyone has some food items that they could donate, or you know, picking stuff up on coupons or whatever to try to have some items to bring in. Each food item that you bring us will get you one entry into the drawing for the autographed HaHa Clinton Dix framed poster. I say poster, but it's not really a poster. It's more like a real photo. It's just huge. And the on-field jersey, Nike jersey, all sewn jersey, really nice. So, if you're interested in those things, bring us some non-perishable food items. Or, of course, you can purchase a ticket for $1 to get yourself into the entry.
$1.
That way. $1 per ticket. And I have pretty much the last of the prizes going out tomorrow. We got a couple that we had to ship out, so I was just packing those before the show started tonight. So, get that stuff out the door and have the new stuff for we'll have other items as well, like we always do. We'll have some, other card packs and things like that, to also, be in that drawing. Don't have all those details on there yet. The show's not till September 28th. And where is it, Charlie?
The historic Riverside Ballroom in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, come out and see us. We're gonna have BB Breaks there, breaking live. They've got some fun things that they want to put together for it. Some giveaways and all kinds of good stuff. So we're expanding that live breaking experience. This is even if you don't want to buy into the break, it's just fun to watch. It was cool to hear like the crowd cheering when there was a good card pulled, and seeing they put a monitor up front. They're on the stage, so you can see them from anywhere on the floor. And they put a monitor up there so you can watch the breaking, and just a lot of fun. It was something I really, really, really wanted to have at this show. When we talked about how can we make the best card show we think we can make, that was something that we really wanted to do, and it took a little bit of work. We had to get some things figured out, but super, super happy to be partnered with BB Breaks on that part of it. And they've been a vendor with us from the beginning. Benji's a great dude. Just talked to him this past weekend. He did do a guest appearance on this show, and got some really good feedback and comments about that. So we will be bringing him back in a future episode.
Yeah,
he does
a little bit at the Green Bay card show. He said he had a good time.
Yep.
He'd love to be back.
Yeah, and I think what I like about it is what he does is completely different than what we do. So it's kind of fun to see, like, to be able to tell him, well, this is how we look at things. As the guy who would be like buying his base bulk that he doesn't want, kind of thing, versus well, I'm selling breaks and getting new wax, which is not what we do. So anyway, that's the update on the GOAT show. If you're coming in from out of town, let us know. We can help you get some accommodations and show you around town if you'd like. And so we'd love to have some more visitors from out of town. I think that's a lot of fun. And of course, if you're in the area, you got no excuse. You better be there. Sunday, September 28th. It is I think that's a football Sunday too, right? There's football games, I would imagine. I didn't really look at the schedule yet.
Placed it for Green Bay but there would be other games, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Green Bay won't be playing, competing with our show, but there'll be other football. But I think because of the fact that it's starts early in the morning and you can kind of come and go as you please, I think you can kind of work around the football that way too. So, but we'll have good food, there for a very good price. We'll have free admission. We'll have packs for the kids. We'll have the Find a Goat, including Goldie, the Golden Goat, which gets you some credit towards the show. You can use that at any dealer's table. And looking forward to it. I love our show every weekend when it hits. It's a lot of work too. Just making sure everything gets set up and working with the venue and dealers and all that. But I always enjoy it. I always have a good time at our show. It has a good energy. So
good vibe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Stu and Goldie will both be back. Brianna wants to remind us that we are already 70% sold out. So if you're interested in vending, please reach out to the team via our official email, which is, Adam?
The Goat
Card Show.
The Goat Card Show at gmail.com.
Gmail.com. There
we go. The Goat Card Show at gmail.com. Yeah. And 70% sold out, but there's other interests too. So, there's those tables will go pretty quick before September. So if you want to get in, our show's getting to the point where you can't just wait till like the day before and get a table. It'll be sold out before then. Well, and of course, once we get booked up, we'll start a waiting list. If we can get enough tables to add another section or something like that, we can look at that too. But yes, for now, like the tables listed, we're at a little. Actually, I think it's a little bit over 70%. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. We love to get new dealers. That's always fun too. To have some new setup, some new inventory and things like that.
Yeah.
No Green Bay home game. They do play at 3:15. What? Oh yeah, Packers play. I think they play in Dallas, if I remember correctly, and it's a 3:00 game. So our show ends at 2. So if you want to see the Packer game, you can easily come do the show and then go chill on the couch and watch the Packers destroy the Cowboys. That's always fun. So anyway, enough on the GOAT card show. Of course, we have to do an update on that each week. That's part of the fun of the show is telling you about the physical in-person show that we get to be a part of. Of course, Charlie and I will do a live from there. We'll tell you about some of our pickups. We might break some packs or do something fun like that. And yeah, so next Green Bay GOAT show.
So Art says, looks like I'm gonna need to play live each week moving forward. But
yeah,
I think maybe we found a workaround. Let me see if this works. I actually found the file that I sent to you. Let's see if it actually loads.
There you go.
Look at that. Now we seem back to normal.
yo, YouTube. Welcome to the live show. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I had no idea that was a change, and I don't really keep up with StreamYard too much. I only use it for this show and stuff. So when I started setting up the show tonight, I was like, what is all this junk I got to agree to? And
yeah.
Of course I didn't read any of it. Why would you do that? So anyway,
Dan says they'll give you those options for free until they find out how much those options are used, and then they become a paid upgrade. Typical software.
Yeah, pretty much. And Charlie's right. We'll just work around it. I don't feel like we need to give them any money, so we'll deal without it. Hopefully, they keeps giving us at least a chunk of free stream time. Otherwise, if they change that, then yeah, obviously we'll have to pay, because otherwise we don't have any other way to do it.
Yeah.
But it is a good working software. I really like StreamYard. It's pretty easy to work with.
It is, yeah.
All right, so that covers the show. So as long as we're on the topic of card shows, let's move on to the next one. We just had the Green Bay show at the KI.
We did,
and we did. I mean, I was there. I don't know where you were, but I was.
I don't know where that question mark came from.
Question mark? Yeah. Well, yeah, you threw that in there. So anyway, did some sales. We did some. Charlie does his, pay me what you think it's worth kind of thing, which I really am intrigued by that. I like that. And it's gotten you some pretty good results. So
yeah,
it's working. And then I did some kids pack stuff and some 50-cent box stuff. So, we made some sales out of that, but ultimately we got to go around, talk to a lot of dealers. I know your son, Caleb, was helping, one of our dealers at our show, run his tables, because he was short his partner. So it's good. Picked up a lot of inventory from my normal 10-cent quarter dealer that I get really good stuff from. So kind of a typical Green Bay show, honestly, right? From our perspective, it was seemed like a little bit slower.
Yeah, it did.
Just being a summer show, but I don't put that on the show at all. That's just kind of how it is this time of year.
I mean, it's 4th of July weekend. A lot of people are out of town.
Right. Weather was nice.
It was about what I expected.
Yeah, same. But we like to show support to that show. We have our spot that we're at. Every quarterly show we're there. Set up our banners. We give out. It's a great opportunity for us to just promote the GOAT show as well. So we get kind of two things out of it. We get some card sales of stuff that we don't really list on eBay, and then we also get
Right.
the promotion for the show. So it was a good show there. I don't have any video or anything like that. There was nothing exciting enough to really, um, you know, to really put out there that I haven't put out there before. But just wanted to at least share our experience on it. There's another little card show happening at the end of the month, isn't there?
Which one are you referring to? I mean, we have a regular plethora of shows in the driving area. So.
Well, I believe it's in a small town called Chicago.
Oh, I may have heard of something there.
Yeah. So there'll definitely be video from there. Of course, we're referring to the National, which the VIP is sold out. So I timed that perfectly. So good news there. The show is definitely going to be busy. I think I've seen some of the dealer list, and I remember some of the dealers that I work with. I have a terrible memory, as you guys all know at this point. But I have my regulars that I buy my non-sport from and my dime stuff from. So I'm excited that they're going to be in the same area. So I know where that is. We'll be there on Wednesday right away for preview night and get in there and get some great pickups, get some video, and then, have some hangout time and go to Giordano's. That's one of the most important parts.
So what is your day one plan? What do we have, like 3 hours there on that first night?
Yeah, it's like 3. Usually it runs a little long. We sort of push the get out of here bell, if you will.
Yeah.
And that it's not as must leave emphasis as Cleveland was, because everything's connected to it. So you can kind of go out in the lobby and stuff like that and hang out, versus in Cleveland they're shutting down the entire building because there's nothing else there. So you can buy yourself maybe a few extra minutes in the show floor before they really get everybody out. But yeah, I mean, I think day one hasn't changed for me at all in the last probably 5 years that I've been going to this thing. And I got to get the value box non-sports stuff first. That's priority number one.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 4 more days after that. We can putz around and do other stuff after that. But I think day 2, big focus is going to be trying to pick up some unusual wax and things like that. I think I mentioned that a couple shows ago that's something that I'm adding to my list this time. I feel like I have some regret on some stuff that I could have bought, wanted to buy, and just didn't at the last show, and or bought some of and should have bought more of. So I want to look at some of that, especially non-sport, of course. The Cybercell stuff, if those guys are there, they had cool products, good deals on them, good resale on that stuff. So I think that's day 2. Day 3 is, usually going to like the bigger vendors, right? You want to get the eBay people and do the scavenger hunts and like do some of that stuff. That's a decent Friday activity. I think Saturday is just too crazy. It's too packed. So that would be my day to look at like dollar boxes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Primarily over anything else. Maybe go clean up the rest of what I would want at value box area stuff, or back to tables that I looked at and didn't buy, whatever.
Right.
So I think that's a priority. I think this last show, well, it was your first show, so it was a little bit different experience for you, so we kind of went to wild card right away and did some of that, and that's, to some degree, you have to get to those places a bit early, but not necessarily like minute 1 on Wednesday,
Right.
So I think Thursday is when we can get to like Dave and Adam's Card World and get some wax for the free, whatever their free giveaway cards are going to be, and then get to Leaf and pick up some of their free stuff, and then do the scavenger hunt and get whatever they're doing with that, if they're doing it. I mean, we don't even know exactly what they're doing, so that's the other thing. To try to do it on Wednesday, you don't even know what's going on, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
And then then start looking at wild card and spinning the wheel for prizes, and doing that kind of fun stuff. I think is I like to get my work done. I'm a big and that's why I get up at 4 a.m. I'm a big get up, get all my work done, and then I can just play and not have to have that in the back of my head. Like, oh, I got to remember at 4 o'clock, I got to be here. I got to make sure I pick up enough of this stuff before I leave today. Like, I want that done so then I can actually just enjoy myself
Sure.
for a part of it, especially like eating, because this is like one of those types of events where like you can forget to eat, as weird as that sounds. You just get, I can anyway. I just get caught up digging in boxes and, oh, there's just one more table over here, or, oh, there's, I want to get back to this area, or because the show's so huge. And then all of a sudden it's like 5 o'clock. Frozen deep dough, sure. But that wouldn't be Giordano's. Yeah, that wouldn't be Giordano's though. That would be oh crap, what's the name of that pizza place? I totally forgot the name of it. But anyway, yeah, there's another deep dish Chicago place that we like. Yeah, I would love to pick some up, so hopefully we'll get to do that. But yeah, I think my strategy hasn't drastically changed, but I get feelings like after a show is done where I go, I really wish I would have done more of this or got more of that, and then I try to kind of add that to my list of extra. Now, this is not your first show. Now you've done one of these, so how does it change for you this time?
That's the rumor, that this is not my first show, that I may have done this at least once before. I don't know that there's any evidence of that, but that's the rumor.
I mean, I have photos and video. I guess you could deny that, but yeah.
So I think going in this year, it's much different than when I went last year. Last year it was, okay, what the heck is this experience? What am I walking into? What am I going to see? What are the options? I had so many questions going in last year that getting there, well, you probably remember, I did not want to stand still anywhere for long when I got there. Like, I wanted to be moving. And just see what this is all about. I think this year I will be the exact opposite, much in the way you described. Like, I know that first Wednesday night, I want to find cards that I don't see as often in the shows that I frequent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's non-sport or wrestling or some IndyCar racing or something
Hockey.
like that. Yeah. I want to find the stuff that I just don't come across at our local shows here and load up on that. I am much less interested in
Lou Malnati's. I just came to me. Sorry.
There you go.
Lou Malnati's is the pizza place.
Interested this year in the big three, baseball, football, basketball. Will I get some? Sure. I'm sure I will be walking along and see a value box that just looks good to me, and I'll grab a couple hundred cards out of there. But that's not what I'm going for. That'll be more of an incidental buy, right?
Right.
I want the stuff I can't find around here, and I want the manufacturer booths and the special products. That's what I'm after when I go.
100%. That's the whole reason you should be there.
Yeah.
We have good local shows we can pick up good for sport inventory from, which I think is the best way to put it. And then this is the place where you can sort of get the stuff that other stuff. I've done very well with it. I mean, I've been able to find some stuff that's really home runs.
So I figure Wednesday night, or Wednesday afternoon, I should say, and Thursday morning are going to be like all business for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and then as Thursday gets into the second half of the day, might explore a little bit more. Friday, Saturday, like you said, are going to be some of those quests to get some of those manufacturer products and redemption type things. And but one thing we didn't talk about is something we got into a little bit at the Cleveland show last year, is looking through some of the vendor displays at different products for resellers, right? So we saw that light box last year. Not much came of it, but it
No.
gave us some ideas. It piqued our interest. Things like that, I really do want to spend a little time on as well. So I do like to look around.
And the Kakawau booth, right?
Yeah, the Kakawau booth. Checking out some of the breakers a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wondering, do I want to spend half a day in line for an autograph or two? I don't know. I know you don't typically do that, but at the same time, I'm like, when else could I have such easy access?
Right. Yeah, that'd be the time.
Yeah.
And some of the lines, depending on whose autograph you want, some of them aren't that bad.
Yeah.
A lot of them you can walk up and it's 4 or 5 people in front of you, and then you can get something. The cost is always part of it. I mean, the autographs have gotten really expensive, but
yeah.
But if it's somebody that's really important to you, or you got a really cool piece you want to get a signature on, that's going to be the spot to do it for sure.
Right.
There are so many athletes that are going to be at that thing to sign stuff.
A huge list.
Huge. So, yeah, I really love the Donald D. Stevens Convention Center. They do such a great job with the show, and it's a great floor plan. There's lots of different spaces to go to, and I feel like they organize the show really well there. Like, things make sense in certain spots versus Cleveland kind of felt like, well, there's some big vendors over here and then some over here. Like, it didn't always match up, I mean, I guess they had some of the wax vendors together and things, but yeah, so it's going to be good. The VIP lounge there is really nice. When we get there Wednesday,
we hit the VIP.
Yeah, so that's what we'll actually do first. So we'll get there Wednesday, pick up our bags, and then head right up to the VIP lounge. We'll get some of the free pizza and drinks and stuff, and just kind of spend some time up there until they actually open the door for us to go in and wreak havoc on the place.
I imagine we'll spend a little time with Alex and Car Dealer Pro again as well.
Yep. Yeah, I assumed we would stop by there. I'm not sure where they're going to be. I guess we'll find that out. But if they're in the same area, they'll be by the Breaker Bowl, and we can kind of locate them from there. But
they should be on the map already.
Probably. I just didn't look for them. It's not like priority search for me to get to them. It's more, I was looking more for the dealers and stuff, and the bigger vendors where we get the freebies and buy packs and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting this year to see what player is the big focus on, like the freebie stuff. Is it going to be Caitlin Clark? Is it going to be Cooper Flagg? Is it going to be, I don't know, who's the big Travis Hunter? Is it, I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Last year was obviously Paul Skeens was the big kind of player that they were using to promote giveaways and things like that. So it's good. It's good. I'm really excited about it. It's just a couple weeks away now. It always feels like forever away, and then all of a sudden, holy crap, it's here. I gotta get ready for this thing. I have to go pick up my 5 rows yet. I always bring my empty 5 rows. I don't have any right now.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been trading them in for getting other boxes full. Like, I get a credit for trading the empty boxes in. So I've been hanging on to them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go pick up, probably 2 of those just to make sure I have enough. And then once I get the stuff listed, then they'll be empty, and then I can use them as trade-in. So, like, it doesn't really cost me per se in the end. I just need them for the space. I could probably consolidate some too. I have boxes that I've been picking stuff out of, and I know there's empty rows, so maybe I'll do that if I feel that active and wanna do that versus just go get an empty one. I don't know. Sometimes for a show like this, I like to just have really fresh, solid boxes, because the boxes over time, because they're so big and so heavy, they get kind of like flopsy. You know what I mean? The cardboard just kind of loosens up on them, and so I kind of, the last couple of years I've really just gone with brand new ones, even if they were ones that I emptied out. They were very new, and I like that because I felt like they stayed really solid for me to carry them around and stuff.
So I do not see Car Dealer Pro on any of the vendor.
That's because that's because they're not Card Dealer Pro, they're collects.
Well, that's a good point, but I don't see them either.
Oh, well, maybe they're not there.
But I do see a Walmart table.
Are you kidding me?
I am not. It is right next to
there's-
DC Sports 87 and something else I can't read because it's so small.
There's probably going to be like Dick's Sporting Goods or something too. You know, everybody's in on the card game now.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else I find a little interesting here that would be out of place. Do you know what Courtyard is?
Courtyard.
Courtyard IO.
I do not.
Yeah,
not off
that's
the top of my head.
Not a name I know either. Let's see. Some of the usuals: Topps, Fanatics, Sports Card Investor, Blowout, Panini,
Right.
Dave and Adams, Golden, eBay, VFriends, Steel City Collectibles.
Is Bojack's there?
No, but your friends at Arena Club are.
Of course.
Yeah, I do not see any Bojacks.
Yeah, that's not good. Unless unless they're listed under something else. Maybe that the company name is something else.
Right. I was gonna say it's possible that they just don't have the premium stuff. Okay, so there is a collects in the Breaker Pavilion. So
that's where they were last year.
They have a table. They just don't have one of the big
booths.
setups.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they did last year. So I was kind of expecting the same.
Yeah, and then
So-
Bojacks.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, right? Bojax.
Bojack.
Bojack. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's it or not. Bojack Cards is a vendor there, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so used to the name Battle Arena that I don't.
Yeah, and that's why that's what I was thinking. Like, if you look up Battle Arena, I don't know if it shows up that way anymore. So I don't know.
Let me see. Battle Arena. Check the chat. Someone probably already answered it. Bo Jackson Battle Arena.
I can't work the chat tonight. It has the stupid blocker thing on there again.
Oh man.
I know.
You're banned from the chat.
It wants me to, so I click the thing and then it just goes, "Oh, hi Dado. My kid was on here, so that's fun." Okay, now I can get it.
There you go.
Let's see. What are we doing?
Bo Jackson Battle Arena. It is at the show. And
yes.
They do have a big display. They are kind of behind Steel City and Fanatics and stuff. They're in that.
I kind of want to go there right away on Thursday because his stuff's pretty hot right now, and I would love to get something.
Yeah.
A box or something, even if it's just something to rip and so
I'm really struggling.
That one is different, and it's kind of a higher priority on my list because of it.
Yeah, I get it. I've watched some rips on it, and as a personal buyer, it's not for me. But as a reseller, yeah, I can see some value there.
And they should have some show promo with it too. They should have buy a box, get a couple packs, or custom cards, or I mean, you wouldn't go to a show like this and not do that. So there should be some incentive as well, I hope.
Max is here. He says, "Sucks this will be the last year of the best value boxes at the National, though." What's your
why is that?
Yeah. Fill us in, Max. What are we missing?
Yeah, I don't know. Usually there's someone that picks up the slack. There's almost always somebody who's got value boxes that can produce. So
someone retires and somebody
and if
else
not then I just don't pick up that inventory.
Yeah.
But it has been a really good honey hole that way for me the last 3 shows or so to pick up stuff there and that I don't see.
Yeah.
There's always a couple of like surprising value box dealers too where I'm digging and I'm like, where the heck did they get this stuff from? You know, and it doesn't seem like it fits with other things they have.
Right.
So you just kind of really got to keep your eyes open and really search the place, you know, and try to find opportunities. Talk to the dealers, talk to other people buying stuff, you know, whatever. I would like to get anybody who's on this channel or in the Discord. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, there goes the link right now. Jump on that, join the Discord. It's free. But I would love to just do like a get together one night. Not necessarily like anything fancy, but maybe even just meet in the VIP lounge or you know, there's the Starbucks out front. We could go hit out the Starbucks. You know, head back to the hotel area, whatever. Sports bar there, whatever, and then just have some hangout time. I think that would be cool too. Informal, you know, if you come for a little while, great. If you can't make it, that's fine too. But yeah, so I think we have the national, you know, channel in the Discord group. I think we'll post something out there like, hey, 7:00, you know, meet in the lobby if you're interested in this thing. Whoever shows up, great. We'll go get some coffee, get some pizza, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And just shoot the crap in person, which is kind of fun sometimes.
It is
to see everybody.
Dan's here. He says, picking up unusual wax. Sounds like a trip to Wild Card to me.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know how much of their wax I will buy. It depends on, you know, what they have, what they're putting out.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost always buy something from Wild Card. I love that place. And
definitely
they were important to me in cards growing up. And, you know, one of my favorite cards in my entire collection is a big Wild card. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in what they have. So we'll see what they're offering this time. But I would rather go away from, like Charlie said, I'd rather go away from like NFL boxes and Major League Baseball boxes and get like celebrity boxes and, you know, stuff like that, or packs or whatever. Cause I'm just bigger on filling that side of the things. I can get lots of sports. So
maybe they'll have a promo on this coming soon stuff that they have on their website.
Yeah, I saw an email about this the other day, and then yeah, it looks like I'm not exactly sure what that means even, but yeah, I'm sure they'll have something. There's always something they're kind of announcing new at the national. Like that's the place to do it for these companies. So
a little
if they're if they're teasing, if they're doing any of that, there's pretty good odds that it's going to show up at the national as being their time to unveil something. I think some of the companies now are doing that with the Fanatics Fan Fest and stuff, but the true hardcore card companies are going to do it at the national.
Here's another one. Splat soon. What's Splat?
Yeah. What is that? Do you have? I can't see what it says on the screen. Do you have to like subscribe to this or get notifications?
Just a placeholder. It just says soon. Yeah.
So yeah, some interesting things coming from there. I know Leaf had some announcements today. They just got a minor league baseball contract deal, so that'll be kind of interesting on how that plays out, and what they're going to bring to the table with that. They had really good giveaway stuff last year. The rugby stuff did really well for me. The stack of Messies did pretty well for me. Are doing pretty well. I still have some left. So yeah, hopefully we get some more great giveaway stuff. That's always fun. And hopefully the VIP packs are strong this year. I felt like there was a little weak last year. Player wise, it was good. You know, there's Eamon Thompson in there. There was Caitlin Clark. Let's see who else was in there. Not Beckers. Trying to think. Angel Reese and Webanyama rookie.
Yeah.
You know, so there was some solid, like, luckily it was a pretty good rookie class year, but the cards were just kind of meh. I mean, there were no foil on them, nothing like that. There's nothing special, nothing from V Friends, you know. So hopefully there's a little bit stronger presence in the VIP packs this time.
Yeah.
With some exciting things, but we'll see. We'll see. I didn't have a way to offload my autographs last year. It didn't seem like anybody wanted them. It was really weird.
The tickets, yeah.
So my experience previously in Chicago is I go pick up my VIP bag, I walk off to the side, and then there's a guy like, "Hey, do you want your autograph tickets? I'll give you $20 for them." Great, here you go.
Yeah.
I take my $20 and I'm done with that. So I'm hoping that's sort of the experience this year. But we'll see.
Wolfie Joe's here. He says only auto he got at his first national was one of the VIP freebies, and almost missed out on the pizza because of it.
What? You gotta have the pizza. That's like
Priorities.
after
right?
all the travel. You gotta. The pizza is like, it's crazy how many pizzas they have there, and due to obviously the amount of people that are there as well. But it's weird because usually when we get there, I'm not the first one there. I don't want to be there for like 6 hours before the show opens. I feel it's kind of foolish. So it's already the VIP party's in full swing by the time Ethan and I get up there, and it's like there's still pizza and soda. I had plenty to eat and plenty to drink. I'm like, how's that possible? Because you always think once that stuff is free and it's out there, people just overeat, and pack it on because it doesn't cost them anything extra. But yeah, they did a good job, providing that extra part. But the VIP lounge you can go to anytime you want. So if you ever want to break from the show, if you don't have a conjoined hotel or anything, you can just pop up to the VIP rooms. Tons of tables up there. There's a private bar area. I think there's always like some free autograph guests up there you can go visit. So it's just nice to have a little break spot. And it's a little bit better than the one, in my opinion, a little bit better than the one in Cleveland because it's a little bit better space and it's upstairs. It's not like in a low hang basement area. And although thank God for that VIP room in Cleveland because we had bathrooms we could use.
Yeah,
upstairs it was insane.
Huge.
Yeah. And they did have like the little like food vendor areas so you could get like snacky stuff and that, and it wasn't a huge line. So so we definitely used the VIP area. I don't want to put it down that way. Like I got value out of it last year. But I just think the Chicago arrangement just works a little bit nicer.
Yep. Let's see. Joe also says, I once went to Disney World and spent a few hours there watching The Lion King.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
We went in Rome, right? Went in Rome. Yeah. Yeah.
Dan's is shocked to see a Walmart table as well. He says, yikes, is it to show how restocks go and a horn goes off and you grab all the Pokemon boxes as fast as you can and then it looks like a tornado went through?
Yeah. Speaking of Pokemon, when I walked the Green Bay show this past weekend, I literally went down one whole aisle. It's tables on both sides. Went down one whole aisle, looked on each side as I went, and every single table in the whole row was Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it was that third row in the main hall.
Yeah,
and I was like, geez, that's a lot of Pokemon. And there were obviously other Pokemon dealers outside that besides. So
yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, we'll just stick all the Pokemon here. That wasn't the case. It's just there's just that many Pokemon dealers now. It's crazy. But that's the wave right now. That's the thing that's big, and it'll have its time to fade as well. And something else will pick up.
And we were talking about how we felt the foot traffic was a little slower that show. Max actually felt it was really busy, but he's a Pokemon dealer, so
right.
More of the show was dedicated to that, and I think that was a good thing for him.
Yeah, I don't think it was like slow. I think it was just like slower. If that makes sense.
It was just foot traffic.
Yeah. I just didn't feel quite as powerful as it had in the past. And honestly, it doesn't matter. If there's 1,000 people there and nobody wants your stuff, or there's 10 people there and they all want your stuff, it's better to have the 10.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, he's doing the Pokemon, and that seemed to be the bulk of the crowd there. So
yeah.
If you're into Pokemon, you should have been able to find something this weekend, that's for sure.
And I felt
it'll be interesting to see how much Pokemon's at the National.
Yeah. And I felt I had the normal amount of box diggers at our table too.
Yeah, I did too.
What I noticed is aisles didn't seem as crowded as they normally.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it felt like a little bit more movement. Even like some of the value boxes, normally when I would get over there, there'd be like, 5 or 6 people already digging, and it was like me and one other guy,
Yeah.
So it didn't even feel like I had to compete as much, I guess, in that area, which normally is a
And
little
I
bit
felt it
busier. But
kind of hit a wall at about 2 p.m. too.
yeah, with it being summer, I think people were ready to like, okay, I'm gonna get out now and go do my bike ride or do my, picnic or take my kids to the park or, whatever it was. If there was, those summer days are precious. And I think people did the card show in the morning and they were like, okay, I'm ready to go do something outside now,
Yeah.
especially where we live. I mean, it's not like you get 80-degree days every day of the year by any measure. So,
Right. Going back to the national and the comment about the best value.
oh yeah, Dell.
This is Del.
Yeah, I heard about that. You're right. I understand what you're saying. He's probably my biggest non-sport dealer that I buy from, and yeah, sadly, lives. I think he lives in Wisconsin, right? Southern Wisconsin, like down by the Milwaukee area. Because he does the Oak Creek show sometimes, and yeah, so that's unfortunate. He's a super nice guy. He always gave us a great deal. He was easy to work with, and could always count on him bringing cool stuff.
If it's who I was thinking of, I thought he lived in the Chicago area.
Well, that could be too. That could be too. But yeah, you know who he is. He's the guy who had, we got the My Little Pony stuff from,
Okay,
and like Winnie
that's what I
stuff and
thought.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's him. That's him.
Okay.
So
That
yeah,
is
rest
sad
in
for me.
peace, Del. You were an awesome dude.
John Pencoast is here. How much unlisted inventory do you both have of yours? Let's see, both of yous have on hand that you consider listable on eBay. Well, that is an interesting question. A lot is what I would say.
Yeah. Probably about, let's see, 3 of those don't really count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Probably about 50,000 cards, I want to say.
Yeah.
Right now, just between, I mean, I still have like 4 boxes of just Favre stuff to list. And I sell through quite a bit of Favre, so it's definitely like not something I'm going to discount. I'm just going to list them as time goes on. But yeah, I got plenty for the most part. But you never. When I first started, I used to like have to chase inventory. Like, oh my god, I don't have anything to list. I got to go buy stuff, and that's kind of a bad position to be in because you're probably going to buy some stuff that maybe isn't the best deal.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't have much margin or can't really resell, whatever. I don't have to do that now. I can be kind of selective, and I have my certain players that I sell tons of, and I will always just buy more when they're the right price because, you might get an 80 card order or something like that of one of those players, and then boom, you need a good, healthy stack of inventory to put right back in.
Yeah, I probably have about half as much back stock as you have, but that's plenty for me because I don't get the big orders like you get. I maybe get a handful of 100-card orders a year. Usually my order size is much smaller. So that's plenty of back stock for me to constantly be putting new stuff up there, especially as a part-timer at this,
Yeah, I had a 160 card order earlier this week, and sometimes I love an order like that because it was a lot of like stuff that I wouldn't buy now that I had listed a while ago.
Yeah.
So it's so nice when it's like, oh, good, that's sold. I won't be buying any more of those. I'm glad that went to someone who really wanted it, and then went in a big order besides. So there's value in it. So, I mean, you can literally list any card on eBay. To answer that part of your question, but I don't anymore. Not with maxing out my listings. I'm a little more picky. I'm spending more time right now trying to consolidate listings to open up new listings, and then getting more stuff on there. So I constantly have like a little stack of bags here that are way down. You're looking at maybe 6, 7, 8 cards left in these bags. I'll start pulling them out. It's a way to do it, inventory, you know, to look at your inventory. I'll combine them into one bag. Just did one right before the show here. So here's like a more complete bag. This was probably 4 or 5 of those little bags that I put together. And then when I do that, I look up that card itself to find out if I have any other copies in other bags, and I'll pull them and put them all into one. So that's kind of my process then. And then, yeah, the stuff I've got sitting there that can be listed yet. Now this week, I think I told you last week that June was a bit slower. Well, now this week I had like 2,800 cards already sell this week.
Oh, really?
Between the between the holiday and today, really. So over the weekend and then through the last couple of days. So I have a ton of listings available right now, so I can get a bunch of stuff, you know, scanned in and ready to go. Which reminds me, I got to get the scanner over to you too.
Yeah, I
it's your turn.
Could use that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try to maybe tomorrow night I could run it over there. I'll let you know for sure, but that should work okay. Friday night I got company coming, so but if you're gonna be home tomorrow night, I can drop it off.
Yeah, somebody will be home.
Okay. I don't want to leave it on your doorstep.
No, someone will be here.
It's not that kind of thing. Plus sometimes your house starts on fire, so I don't want to do that.
Yep, fair. That did happen once.
It did. Once is all. That's enough, right?
Yep, that is definitely enough. Garrison Frost is joining us for the first time tonight.
Hey, how's it going, Garrison?
Best of luck at the Nationals.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more important. You know, when I first went, it was just kind of fun, and it was a way to. I needed inventory, so like I kind of buy anything. Now it's like it's my place where I really get stuff I don't get anywhere else. So it's become a lot more important to my business model than I ever thought it would. But what I love about this show is I can get a lot of my work done like Wednesday. Like there's really nothing else going on. It's just kind of a preview shopping night. So I love that because I can get a lot of work done in that 3-4 hours, whatever it is. Get a lot of stuff to take back. Feel like some of that pressure comes off because you're like, okay, I got all this great stuff already. The rest of the weekend, you know, I don't score a whole lot. I'll be okay leaving this way.
Yeah.
Especially with it being less time consuming and costly for us this year because it's so close. You know, I don't have to get much out of it in order for it to be worth my effort.
Right.
So yeah, looking forward to it. It's a great show. I mean, they always do a good job with it. Hopefully the air conditioning is working.
If not, I've got my neck fan ready to go.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to save you, bro, but that and then the big reward of getting my Giordano's. I got to have my Giordano's for the week, so we'll be picking that up.
Giordano's.
Oh my God. Have you had Giordano's?
I don't know if I have.
Okay. Well, we're going to change your life that week, so be ready.
If you've had one deep dish pizza, you've had them all, right?
No. Oh my gosh. This guy. Do not say that when we're in Chicago to people in Chicago, because you ain't going home if you do that.
I saw something recently that Chicago people will tell you that deep dish really isn't Chicago's favorite.
Well, okay. So, but I mean, you could find somebody in New York who's like, I hate thin slice New York floppy pizza too. So it's not as traditional as it once was, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the result of the story was, hey, most Chicagoans are drinking pub style or eating pub style pizza.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, I mean, that same person who said that to you probably pops in like a tombstone and like they think that's good. Right. So
yeah,
who's to pin the badge on someone and say you're the best judge of pizza? Like that's not, one of the cool things about pizza is there's a lot of variation to it. So you can kind of have your own thing with it and enjoy it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I know people who have like white sauce on it and basil and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not pizza, I'm more of a purist. I like my red sauce and my deep deep dish and my too much cheese and pepperoni and sausage and you know what I mean? That to me is pizza. So, but if you haven't had Giordano's, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna at least have to try it and be ready. I'll get you on film. But yeah,
I'm all about pizza, man.
I will leave if I don't have Giordano's. I will go find one. I can't be there and not have it. No, as good as Giordano's is, I'm actually more of a Lou Malnati's fan, and so there's kind of that, you know, quiet battle between those two deep dish places. And
Okay.
Lou Malnati's is Brianna's favorite too, and that's generally what I'll pick up because they sell frozen ones and you can bring them home.
Okay.
So that would definitely be my preference, but Lou Malnati's restaurants are not as plentiful.
I
Harder to
grew up
find there,
thinking
so.
Rocky Rococo's was the best deep dish pizza.
Oof. That's brutal. So we don't. So your bar is pretty low. We're gonna do just fine with Giordano's.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So
Boom
I'll be on the way
Snipe is
back.
here, and he says, "Yo."
We gotta finish this. Yo yo. Do we have to go over why the yos are all the yos again? I don't have to do that again, do I?
Is this a show about yo-yos?
Yeah. Well, yo is for G.I. Joe. Yo is a toy, and yo is the intro to a $1 box video. That's the different yos.
There you
So I
go.
clarified that. And then you can follow that up with a waza. True.
Boomslang says he saw a bunch of Disney Lorcana packs and boxes at Target today. What's your take on them? What say you, Adam?
Yeah, I definitely have some Lorcana. I've sold some. It's not a hot mover for me. I thought about there's actually like a starter like board game set which I didn't know existed, kind of like the Prism Monopoly.
Okay.
Back in the game section, and they had it on clearance for, I don't know, $10, $12 or whatever. You got a few packs and like starter deck stuff in there and some character tokens and whatever. And I thought that might not be a terrible purchase just because of the volume you would get. I think you get like 80 some cards for $10. Plus the board game and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't really buy much of it. It was super hot when it came out, which a lot of things are like that. But as far as Disney goes and cards, the Kakao beats the pants off of any of that stuff. So I've really, to fill my Marvel and my Star Wars and my Disney needs and all that kind of thing, Kakao has been doing it. So I haven't really turned to Lorcana again for that reason.
Yeah, I've been tempted, but I've stayed out of Lorcana. At some point, I had to say I can't do everything.
Right.
Because every new channel you pick up, there's some learning involved, right? I dabbled in Magic a little bit. I dabbled in Pokemon a little bit. And I'm like, damn, I don't have the time to learn all this stuff to know what I'm doing. So I had to fall back to the channels that I really know in cards. Because I just couldn't afford to spend the extra time trying to learn it all right now. Maybe someday. But yeah, Lorcana falls into that as well. I just haven't jumped in the water on that one.
And honestly, it's a card game, and that's not really my thing. I don't buy like a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh. I do really well with Digimon, so that's been something that I'll buy. If I find it in boxes, I'll buy it. But yeah, Lorcana doesn't really interest me that much as well. I don't think the cards are that great looking, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of overprinted too. I feel like I see a lot of packs and a lot of supply everywhere. So it's not like, the Pokemon leaves the shelf right away. Well, it's probably a smart idea to pick up some Pokemon. There's definitely a giant market for it, not an oversupply of most of the cards. And I would rather, if I'm doing card games, that's probably where I lean more. That and the Magic. I think this Pokemon is kind of the start of a run of card game stuff doing really well, and I think Magic makes sense to follow that up. So I think there's going to be a big push on Magic dealing. Plus, Magic now is Magic now is doing all the licensing deals, right? Like they did Assassin's Creed and they did Final Fantasy and they did, I don't know, a couple other properties. So they're making cards of like other characters, and they're doing serializing now. So there's serial numbered cards that are coming out, and so I think Magic is ready for a boom beyond like alpha and beta, which of course the original sets have always had huge demand and huge price increases and stuff. But I think some of the more modern and some of the other cards are really gonna be ready to go. I think I feel like if you start in Pokemon and evolution to being a card gamer is Magic.
Ironically, I shipped out a Magic card this morning, Poliwag card, made a tidy little profit on it. But yeah, I just haven't been picking more stuff like that up. I just can't do it. But you made me think about some memories I was going through here today and last night. I've been going through some older 90s complete set boxes to just take out what I want and get the rest out, just to clear up some room on shelves, right? And you're talking about the card games, and I came across a fun little set. I'll give you a hint. The bottom of the box was loaded with these. It was a 97 Topps Bazooka set. And what I found interesting, I didn't remember this set, but so take a look at this Sammy Sosa card here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Bazooka set. And then I turned it over and I was like, what is this? There's something interesting on the back. And then I found these gameplay cards. So it's almost like a version of Stratomatic or something, right? Except you're not rolling dice. You do a spin.
It's a spinner. Yeah, it's a spinner. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was kind of fun. I like opening some of these old sets and finding some interesting things. Had all the Red Hots in there too. There's the Griffey Red Hot.
Yeah, those are cool. They sell well too.
And you probably saw in the Discord too that I opened up another box. I think it was like 95 Topps complete set, and it had the what were these called? The Cyber Stats in there with these American flag holographic cards, which are, you find some pretty cool stuff in there. You like to remind us about the late 90s, right? And then you find a fun card like that. Bet you he's pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Mom's got one hanging on her wall, I'm sure.
Right. That's my son, upside down.
Yeah. My son playing baseball. There it is. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Guess why?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got the All-Star game coming up, so that's always a fun time for baseball. Starts picking up some value there. Football's not too far away. Usually start seeing some play on football cards getting ready before the season. So yeah, it's a good time for sports cards. Non-sport cards, it always has its time, I guess. That's the one beauty of that stuff. But Lilo and Stitch stuff has been doing really well with the new movie, and there's a new Superman movie coming out. I've been selling more Ushi cards, especially the holofoil ones, the Supermans, Batmans, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So some of those better properties are doing some things, and that's going to help Kakawau stuff sell, and so it all kind of compounds.
It was kind of funny. I was listing some Kakawau Disney 100 this morning, and I was in a run of Star Wars cards from that set, and I was like, man, did I list these already? I swear, like these images are bringing back memories to me. And I think what it was is a couple months ago I had listed the actual top sets of like the Mandalorian set and stuff like that, and I think a lot of them were such
the same pictures.
Images. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many images of a character, in a movie, so they get reused. Sometimes too, depending on who the licensor is, they'll tell you what images you can use and which ones you can't.
Right.
So if they're like, well, it's these 3 scenes you can choose from, well, the card maker is going to be like, well, this is the best photo for our card, and they might use that on 2 or 3 different releases because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I don't think pineapple on pizza. That's a no-go. That's a fruit. That doesn't make
I
any
love
sense.
pineapple. It took me a
No.
while to warm up to it, but now I'm
No.
sold.
We are not getting
Pepperoni and
pineapple on our no pineapple on our Giordano's.
So good.
No, no,
good.
no. Not pizza.
Wait, wouldn't it be in your Giordano's? Not on?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what they do with that terrible type of topping. I don't know if that goes on top or
Maybe it'll be hidden
inside. I'm
inside
not
and
sure.
you won't even know it.
Yes, I would.
Maybe you'd be like, that is
I
the
would.
best pie I've ever
I
had.
would know it right. I would call them and I'd be like, "What the hell are you doing putting fruit in my pizza? What is wrong with you? I thought you were a true
I can
Italian pizza
imagine your
place."
mom trying to get you to eat your vegetables when you're a
Yeah.
kid.
No, I love vegetables, and I like pineapple. Just it doesn't go on my pizza.
Together?
No, come on. That's like so the big rage in salads is like having strawberries on it or cranberries on it. Like, get the cranberries out of my freaking salad. What are you doing? That's a vegetable. Not those are for vegetables, not fruit.
I don't know, man. So I had a time in my life when I was like, pineapple on pizza, that makes no sense. And then I finally tried it and it was life changing.
I've tried it and no, I won't get there. I don't like my savory mixed with my fruit
Oh, okay.
or my sweet, I guess if you're calling it fruit savory. It would be savory and
yeah,
sweet.
Yeah.
Don't care for that unless it's like a seasoning. Then sometimes I'll let it go. But
I get it.
anyway, yep.
Boomslang says he picked up 550 plus 1973 Topps baseball for $90, and it had over 20 high numbers in it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
the obviously the high numbers are the bigger value draw, but I assume the rest of them are like commons. But 973 is a pretty good set. It sells well. If they're in good condition and stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Usually if I'm buying car, I kind of have like a standard price when I'm looking at vintage. So if it's cards in the years of the 70s, I look to pay 50 cents a card or less.
Yeah.
If it's cards in the 60s or earlier, then I'll pay up to $1 a piece. Because especially like I said, if they're in decent condition where, resellable condition. And then 80s, now you're prices are starting to drop pretty good at that point on commons and stuff. But yeah, imagine that. But yeah, so that's kind of how I do it. So, if on 73 Topps baseball, you're under 50 cents a card, which clearly you are, even without the high numbers, that would be a decent buy. So well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done. Now you got to list them all. Beauty of vintage is you just throw them in the scanner. There's not variations. There's no parallels.
Yeah. It's great.
Pretty quick and dirty. Yep.
Dan says the topic of pineapple on pizza at Loafy Joe starts chaos wherever you are.
Yeah, it did here too. Yeah,
it did.
No pineapple.
It did. Dan says learning a new thing takes time. Took me a while to learn the Bojax cards after my lot purchase. And I see in the update series, was watching somebody rip some update series for that the other night. And there's a lot of new stuff in there, a lot of new designs, parallels. Yep. It is pretty fun looking.
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in playing the game at all. I'm not a card gamer type guy, but I like the superhero design along with the player, the big player names and stuff. I think that's a pretty easy home run. And obviously it's been doing pretty well. So
yeah.
I kind of regret not doing the pre-order when we were at the National last year. It sort of would have made sense. And they were giving away some decent packs and stuff, for doing the pre-order. We talked about this on the last show. It was my intention to go do it and we never did it. So, hindsight, but
I feel like
hopefully they'll have some decent
at
stuff.
Least twice too.
We did. Well, I think I passed it 3 times because Bo was there playing. Remember when we saw him?
Mm-hmm.
He was playing with some kids and stuff, and so we kind of went back there. And then I was like, "Man, there's so many people at the booth. I don't want to try to do anything there right now." And just never really never really put it together and went and ordered anything. So
Yeah.
I hope they have some stuff on hand. I'm much more likely, especially at an event like that. I drove all the way there. You know, put some boxes out I can buy and take with me. I don't really want to drive to Chicago, pre-order something, and then wait for it to show up in the mail. So I think that was part of it too, where I'm like, well, I could spend my money somewhere else in the show and have stuff to take home with me. I can list
Yeah,
right
I
away.
do remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of helped me keep like avoiding doing it, and then I just didn't do it, and yeah. So hopefully they'll. It sounds like they got a good setup there. Hopefully, and they're doing pretty well, and they're going to want to capitalize on that right away. They better have some stuff there you can buy.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's just like a national exclusive release mega box thing or something. I don't know. They got to have something. Panini can't show up and not have silver packs. Topps can't show up and not have silver packs. So you have to do something to support the product
Right.
at the biggest convention that way. And I mean, it's easy money. It's not like you're not going to sell it. So let's get it out there. And so we'll see what they have. I know they were doing, I think Bojax is working on a license for like some other sports too, like soccer and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see if they have some expansions to it.
Yeah. I think they do. Well, that's what the that's part of what this new update.
The update, yeah. And I haven't watched any of it yet. I'll probably watch a rip. That's an interesting enough rip to me that I might actually watch one.
Yeah.
And just kind of see what pops out of it. Plus, it'd be good to know, like, okay, what's being opened? Great. Does that have value for the price of the box? Because it's pretty easy to get a high priced box, but then not get any value out of it.
Yeah. So and part of the fun is just figuring out who each of the athletes is based on their character, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
Every once in a while, there's one you're like, wait, who is this? And then, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Most of them are pretty obvious, but yeah, there's a few where you got to take a step back and look at it a little bit.
Well, and it's multi-sport too, so it makes you think of different channels there. So Average Dave's Cards is with us. He says Magic is coming out with a Sonic set soon. That's cool.
See, there you go.
Like that.
Yeah, they're really working on the like collab side of things, which I think is smart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game. It's got a good base. Like Magic is solid. Like they don't have to try to convince people to play the game.
Right.
There's plenty. They're working on more of the collectible side at this point. So they're doing collabs. They're doing serial numbered cards. They're doing more limited release stuff, retiring more stuff, that kind of thing. So that's who I predict, or what I predict would be like the next boom in the markets. After the Pokemon, kinda, yeah.
Well, they're already kind of a big thing, but
I mean they are, but so is Pokemon. But no one denies that it's had a boost lately, right? So
right.
Magic puts out the right set, gets the right people involved that weren't involved before, and that's really all it'll take. Because they already have a solid base. They have people who are going to buy the boxes no matter what, and then just try to get the new people in to give it that boost.
Yeah, for sure. Boomslang says he also bought some complete sets of 85 Donruss for a little over $27, and 86 tops for $22.50, and 85 tops for $60, just to strip the stars and list on his store.
Yeah, I mean, you can still sell the some of the commons from those sets. You don't have to toss those aside because it is still a lot of set collectors that are buying those years.
Yeah.
But you just can't list them for as much. Like they're not cards from the 70s or the 60s.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know the price of those, the going market rate on those sets or anything like that. But yeah, it seems like that's something you should be able to turn around and get some money out of.
Yeah, I have some of that stuff too. I usually aim a little lower than that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, like $10-15 a box is kind of where I usually fall. Something like, I don't know, something like this. This was like, I'm pretty sure I got this for like $10 as part of a bigger deal. And then like you said, I'll pick out the stars of the day and some of the inserts and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to be careful with that stuff because it's so overproduced. The saying that always comes with me is everybody who wants one of those already has one.
Mm.
So now you're
Yeah.
just outside what a lot of people call junk wax. I think 86 to 94 is one of the common brackets of years, so you're just outside that a little bit. Well, you got 186 and a couple 85s there.
See, I kind of disagree. I think it's 88 to 93.
Yeah, everybody's got their own idea on it. For a while,
there's some
over
94 sets that weren't that highly produced, and they started doing more serial cards and things like that. But
yeah,
some better inserts. But yeah. I mean, you're not wrong either. Like 86 to 94 is an okay way to look at it too.
Yeah. Well, and it just I think when I look at it that way, I'm saying the majority of items in that era.
Right.
Now, are there some
That's
outliers?
true.
Absolutely.
That's true. Yep, that's true.
But when you get in that era, I should say, there's fewer and fewer outliers. So.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Average Dave's Cards says if you get a chance to see the new Chrome Marvel set, it looks incredible. Yeah, I've heard great things. I have not seen any available for me to purchase in person yet. I've been keeping my eye out. That is something I think I'd like to pick up.
That's on my list for the National. So
yeah. That would be a good place to get some, I'm sure.
Now, last year, when the Platinum came out, I don't think that was Topps. What is that? No, that was Upper Deck. The Marvel Platinum, where it says on the back what the actual parallel is. God, I love that. I picked up quite a bit of that at the National. It did very, very well for me. So I would think Topps Chrome would, with refractors and things like that, that's going to work too. So, yeah, I'm hoping I can find a decent amount of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get my hands on some of that Topps Chrome Marvel.
I did see at the show this past weekend, there was a dealer that had some blasters. And I thought of buying one, but just, I don't know. Blaster prices are just stupid now.
I didn't even see them at the show.
$40 for a blaster is just, I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one to swallow, right?
Yeah.
Boomslang says the average price on the 73s is 6 cents a piece. They had a bunch of Hall of Famers, which is key, right? Like I've made some of those buys, and then I get it home and I'm like, well, crap, there's a dozen Hall of Famers missing out of this.
Yeah. No, you'll at 6 cents a piece, even if they aren't Hall of Famers, you'll do just fine.
Yeah, agreed.
So I would love to expand my vintage. I think I've talked about this in the past. If I expanded to another store, I would then do a focus on vintage. I would have a vintage store. I'd have a sports store and a non-sports store. But I just don't see a lot of it in bulk. And like Charlie said, a lot of times when you do, it's just, there's nothing in it that you can get in a quick, easy sale on, like Hall of Famer type stuff to at least recoup your money, and the rest of it can sit. And I just don't have that many listing spaces. And when I do vintage, I have to list each card individually because there's such variation in condition and, centering and all those things on cards of those years. So if I have 5 copies of the same card from 1973, that's 5 listings.
Right.
So I almost need a separate store just for that, just because you need a bigger chunk of listings to do it.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Yes.
Boomslang says he also saw some boxes of Indy racing cards for sale. What do you think?
No.
Yeah, Adam's a firm no. So I got into Indy cards this year, and they have done surprisingly well for me. Much better than my F1 cards over the last couple years. So that's a market that I'm jumping all in on now. obviously, like with any category, you've got your big names and you've got your commons. So it's another thing you got to learn. But yeah, I've had a number of conversations at home here about, man, am I surprised how well IndyCar's doing compared to NASCAR and F1. Now, F1 has a higher end audience. So if you get the right cards, you get some really premium prices. But what I've seen is I get more volume out of Indy cards, and some of them go for some really good money as well. So that's my insider tip tonight. Don't sleep on Indy cards.
Yeah, for me, it kind of goes back to what you said earlier about I'm not doing Lorcana. It's one more thing to learn, and I don't want to build out that much further. And it's kind of where I'm at with Indy.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in car racing. Period. I don't know any of the drivers. I have some '90s NASCAR stuff. When it was big during that time, I know some of that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I have enough stuff listed in other things that sell and move. So I'm kind of. And these for you guys. Have at it.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that's fine. That's more that I don't have to compete with you on.
Right. Exactly. If I saw something really cool at a really good, would I pick it up? Sure. I bought a Danica Patrick card this past weekend. That's not something I
Yeah.
would normally do, but it was in the right spot in a box. I needed a couple more cards to fill out my bulk purchase, and I know who she is. She has a decent market, and it was serial numbered, so
Yeah.
it checked a lot of boxes for some when I would actually buy something like that, and so that's what happened.
Yeah. I kind of stumbled into it. Was at my local Target and I saw some Parkside 2025 Indy card, and it was only like 11-12 bucks for a blaster. And I was like, well, that's a low risk investment to try some. And boy, was I surprised at how well it went. Typically, one card in each box pays for the box, and then I make all profit on the rest of them.
Sure.
And there's autos, there's parallels. Um, there are some really big names in IndyCar right now doing some special things, and those cards are going at a premium. So yeah, there's definitely some value in IndyCar cards. I don't know about historically, but I can tell you for sure this year it was a winner for me.
Are they in Car Dealer Pro
Yes, they are
as
not.
sports cards?
Yes, they're in the
Okay.
racing category. They weren't
Okay.
when I first got into them, but by the time I, went through most of what I had, they were in there. Maybe I
Okay.
filled the database for
That,
them.
well, who cares?
Well, and that's the thing. There was not a lot of product out there, too. So
Right.
that
Right.
was really driving the market quite a bit. But there's still some key names that I'm still seeing really strong out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. Find your niche for sure.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
Boomslang says Upper Deck and Fleer are putting out Marvel Avenger cards.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't really keep up on releases. When I dig through value boxes, I see new stuff and I buy it. that's kind of what does it for me because I don't really buy wax. So release calendars don't really do a lot for me. But
Yeah.
Marvel, it's almost getting to the point where there's like so much Marvel cards. How many
They're
Wolverine
everywhere.
cards
Yeah.
do you need? So yeah, so I'm not as enthusiastic about, oh, there's a Marvel release. Okay, another one. Versus something that you don't see all the time, kind of,
Right.
like, I mean, the Disney 100 stuff, there's Gremlins cards and Jetsons cards, and like you don't see that stuff. So that Flintstones, and I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So that to me interests me more because there just isn't as much of it out there.
Right. Yeah, and there have been Avenger sets for a while from Upper Deck, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall Fleer ones. The thing is they're kind of, I find the set names a little tougher to follow when I'm just going through the shelf at a store or something, because it'll just be, like Upper Deck Marvel, and then you have to really look close to see that, okay, it's the Avengers subset or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
or What If or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do get some of those every once in a while.
Yeah.
Boomslang says that IndyCar hangers were $5 a box. That's really good. That's like half
Sure.
off the
Yeah.
the price I normally see.
See, to me, that clues me in that is there a lot of future value in cards like that, though? I mean, not that you have to care if you're selling them right away, but if they're dropping them to $5 a hanger and nobody's buying them, how much interest is there really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the problem with that. And look what happened to F1. Everybody had to have F1 cards, and they went to $1,000 a box or $1,200 a box, and now like that stuff
Yeah.
sits. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Other than, like you said, the big cards, but
The
the
big
big
card,
cards
yeah.
for anything are gonna always have a market because there's just not much supply. More
Right.
demand, not as much. That's just simple economics that moves that one. But when
Yeah.
what we're dealing in is not that. We're generally dealing in, what's the bulk or the base or the low end parallel type stuff. Um, and I don't know that Indy holds it forever. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a push for NASCAR stuff for a while too, and NASCAR stuff is hard to move.
Yeah, it has died down. That is absolutely true. Um, yeah, I guess time will tell. That's the victor all the time is time, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like we say, any card can sell. It's just a matter of how long it'll take.
And you might have seen more action. You kind of got in on something, Charlie, that I think other people weren't doing.
I
So I
think
think you maybe got some action too. Cause like, okay, well, if it's you and two other guys that listed cards, you probably got a good shot at getting some sales because you have a good seller ID. You have your top rated plus and all that kind of stuff and nice images and you're doing all the things right when you list it besides which promoting and all that can give you an advantage and then there's hardly any competition. um, Even if it is a limited buyer pool, you should get some of the sales out of that.
Yeah, for sure. And it did get to a point where like every day I would say to Mrs. JC3, there's another IndyCar card.
Mm-hmm.
But I did fully expect that it would slow down at some point, and it has to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly it was hotter in the first couple of weeks of release. I don't even know when the release date was. I could have gotten into it on the first week, or I
Like
could
day
have been
one
a
or
month
something.
in. Yeah,
Yeah. Who knows?
yeah. But it's done really well, and it is something I will certainly try again as long as I see commercials for Paddle or Award daily on the TV. I'll keep giving
Yeah.
it a chance.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Boomslang's got a personal connection to racing. He says his cousin's son raced Indy for 9 or 10 years, and now he's in NASCAR. Sage Karam, I think is how you pronounce that.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Good for him. I mean,
He's an insider.
Yeah.
Average Dave says Parkside has some sneaky good licensing between Indy and NWSL. Yeah, I would agree. One of the things that stood out to me on the IndyCar series was some really quality inserts that just made me say, wow, that's impressive. Because the soccer ones, I don't know that I got the same reaction, when I saw those inserts, but the IndyCar ones, there were a lot of sparkly stuff that would be like underneath the helmet and stuff like that to give you an inside look at some things. That just
the soccer has sparkly stuff too.
Does it?
Yeah, I have a bunch. I can show you some stuff later.
I was just gonna see if I could pull up some of my sales of that and show you one of them. But yeah, I mean, if you get a good design and a set, it's certainly going to help you sell a lot more, right? Like,
yeah, eye appeal matters no matter what it is.
Yeah, just I'll give you an idea of kind of how this stuff has been going since I have it up here. I'll throw it up on the screen. But these are my IndyCard sales. I mean, they've been pretty solid all the way
Yeah,
through.
it's a good chunk of cards, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the logo cards go well. This one's like a checkered flag parallel, so those go well. The pit pass, these are really sparkly. Those do well. Yeah, where's one of those beneath the helmet ones I wanted to show you? They've got these vintage ones. Marquee moments are pretty cool. They talk about special races that were won and stuff like that. Iconic images, sparkle foil. That one's pretty rare. I don't see a lot of those out there. As far as from the blasters, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not as you can see, I listed it at $5.99, so it's not super rare. But in all the blasters I pulled, that's the only one like that I got. There you got some
Okay.
Pop Award. Yeah. Do you get some autos in there, which are nice out of a blaster? That's always a plus when you can get decent autos.
That's rare.
Here's one of the helmet hardware ones, Helio Castroneves. Really nice card there. So yeah, it did really well. I will definitely, like I said, as long as I'm seeing stuff in the media every day, I'll keep going after it.
Cool.
Yeah. What else we got here tonight? Josh Williams up next, trading cards. Happy hump day, y'all. Make sure you hit that like button.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, please hit the like button if you're watching this live. Make sure you participate in the chat. That's the beauty of this platform that we're using here, is to try to give you guys a voice as well. Yeah, I know you have to listen to us. You don't have a choice, but we want everybody to participate. If you're watching this recorded, that's fine too. But if you'd like to try to join us live, we're live every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. The more the merrier. We'd love to have more. I'd love to have more on live, because I just think that's part of the fun of it. So if you can do it, try to do it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe, ring the bell, and then you'll be notified when we go live, so you don't necessarily have to remember that it's Wednesday at 8. You just have to go, oh crap, I got a notification. I got to jump on and be on this live and hang out with Adam, Charlie, and the pack of stews.
There you go.
So
Troy, right? Barton Cards and Collectibles is with us tonight. Had 5-10 plus card orders this weekend for soccer, thanks to all the soccer tournaments going on right now. Yeah, it should be a time you can sell some soccer right now, right? Excitement building up.
Yeah, I've had good soccer sales, and then I also sold, unfortunately, a lot of Diogo Jota, who's a pretty big star. Unfortunately, passed away in a car accident. Him and his brother, who's also a Premier League player. He played for Liverpool. They just won the Champions League title, and pretty big star. So that's a big loss. But moved a lot of cards of his too. He had a huge fan base. Heart goes out to everybody who is, part of his family and friends and fans. But yeah, soccer in general has done well. There's a couple of big cups going on right now, and I think savvy investors, and I'd include myself in that. I picked up some soccer this weekend. You saw, Charlie. We're getting closer and closer to the pump of the World Cup, which is going to be in the United States. And USA did well in the Gold Cup. They did lose to Mexico, unfortunately, but they look competitive at a decent level. I'm not going to say they're going to win their group and get into quarterfinals or anything like that in the World Cup, but at least there's some excitement going into it that they can compete. And obviously, if Team USA does well, it helps the market overall for soccer, because there's just more positive attention on it.
Right.
So I think some buyers are starting to go, okay, well, I can get some of this stuff yet at a decent price. I'm going to buy it and sit on it, and then, as there's more talk and more fanfare about soccer because of it being hosted here, the biggest tournament being hosted in the U.S., try to turn it at that time.
Right. Yeah, it's if you can't sell soccer now, you're probably not getting enough of a selection or pricing it right.
I mean, soccer sells really well. I don't even carry that much soccer. I have maybe 2,000 listings of soccer out of my 60,000, but consistently sells, and it's tons of players. I have no idea who they are, a lot of the time. So you don't have to just sell the big names. Obviously, like any sports cards, that's a good play. Especially for liquidity, for ease of selling it versus sitting on it. But just like any of the other sports, you can sell any card. You just need a buyer.
Yeah.
There just isn't as much soccer printed or as much of it listed either. So you get kind of that indie effect that you had where maybe there wasn't as many people out there.
Yeah.
You can kind of get that with soccer too. There just isn't as much listed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you don't know it though, it's a little tough to
Hmm.
figure out who to list in your inventory and what to price them at. I
And there isn't really like a single standout league. There's tons of different leagues. There's La Liga, which of course is in Italy, and then you've got, Bundesliga, which is German, and then you've got the Premier League, which is mostly England, and you've got, you know, um, the the US Soccer League. I can't think of the name of the league right now, but anyway, so you have, the United States Team League, and then you've got
MLS, is that what you're thinking of?
MLS. Thank you.
Okay.
Jeez, Major League Soccer. I kept wanting to say World League Soccer, and I'm like, I know that's not right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Major League Soccer, like there's just so many leagues, so many different teams, lots of hard to pronounce stuff, because it's not all
There-
English, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then it goes beyond that. So, okay, well, you've got these leagues, but then if they win enough, they qualify for the Champions League, and then they play interleague that way. And then there's these little cups in between. There's an America's Cup between North and South America, and then there's Euro Cup, and then there's CONCACAF stuff, and like, yeah, it's if you're not following it, there's a lot going on. It's not like, okay, here's the NFL season, there's a Super Bowl, and then that's the end of it. Like there is no football
Right.
outside of that. I mean, there's some other small football leagues, but nothing that has cards or is professional to that level like there is with soccer. So,
Yeah.
but soccer's a true international game. Most sports can't say that. So it's going to have a lot of different things going on in different places at different times.
Yeah.
Sometimes even like when I want to watch the games, I have to like look at the schedule because there's all the time changes and stuff. Like, okay, well, where are they playing? All right, they're playing in Germany. Okay, how many hours different is that for me? Okay, the game's on at this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's very worldwide. And if the world is too big for you, it's probably not a sport you really want to deal in cards with.
Right. Yeah, it's a little challenging. And I probably wouldn't really be in it at all if not for our conversations at times. But I don't have a lot of soccer.
No,
Well, you
no.
just don't find a lot around here either.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. That's proves my point. There just isn't as much printed. There isn't as much, but there's not as much demand either. At least not in the U.S.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think soccer cards are cool though. They make some cool cards.
Yeah, there are some that I look at and I'm like, that's even if I didn't know the sport, that's a cool card.
Yeah, and there's a good women's side to that sport. A lot of sports don't have that. You have that obviously with basketball now. Getting its big boom with Caitlin Clark and some other big names coming in, but really soccer is like the only other one. So
Yeah.
that's kind of fun too to have some nice cards of some female athletes.
Yep, I agree. In fact, that's how I got started in soccer is Parkside NWSL. That's probably the first soccer
Mhm.
product I bought and started ripping.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a pretty low end product, so
It is.
it's not. Most of the regular cards aren't very exciting. They're very paper cards,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, they do a good job covering different players. There's some decent inserts. There is some foil and things like that too, of course. But yeah, they make a decent product in a place where nobody else is really making it. They sort of fill that need, because there really isn't anything produced by Panini or Tops for women's soccer, other than like World Cup years or whatever. But
Right. Well, we're all caught up in a chat. What else you want
good.
to talk about tonight?
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to cover was the 1099 changes. I'm trying to get through the entire big beautiful bill thing. Um, we're setting the politics of it aside. This is what was signed, so I'm trying to understand it as it would pertain to me and things I do in my business and my accounting and stuff. Anyway, one of the sections of it, it wasn't really talked about, and I was kind of surprised to see it, but a few years ago, as we all know at this point, as sellers getting 1099s, they changed the 1099 rules to where it didn't have to be reported if it was under 20,225 transactions or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the last bill, which came in through the Biden administration, that was starting to decrease that amount. They really would just wanted to go to 600. That was too much of a shell shock right off the bat. So they kind of dropped it. It went to 5,000, and now this year it's 2,500. So if you do 2,500 or more, you're going to get a 1099. Well, the new bill cuts the whole thing right back out, and it's back to 20 grand. So this year at 2,500, you'll be reported. Next year, if you're under 2,000, 20,000, they do not have to report you. It doesn't mean they won't. So you might still have an electronic payment processor that, even if you just like YouTube, right? I get a little bit of money from YouTube. I don't have to hit 20 grand. They're still going to 1099 me. So, and I'm not giving tax advice, and I'm not saying, well, I didn't get a 1099. Adam said I didn't get one. Like, no, that's not it. It's up to them if they want to report things. They just wouldn't be required to for anything you did under 20 grand and 225 transactions for next year, not this year. This year is $2,500. But this will be the last drop, and then it'll change. So I knew that would affect a lot of people in here and in the Discord and stuff. In fact, I should have posted something in Discord. I didn't think of it today. I'll try to do it tomorrow, maybe. But anyway, yeah. So 20 grand, it'll be going right back to the 20 grand next year, which is kind of crazy. I think part of that was due to, and this is speculation, but I think part of it was due to the cut in IRS jobs. So if you're going to make all these people now file report 1099, so you have more to check on a return that way. And then if that's being reported as income, more people are going to say, well, fine, then I'm writing all my deductions and doing all that. So now there's more Schedule C's and, all this other stuff for the IRS to try to kind of keep track of, and manpower just really isn't there. So I think that was a big part of it too, is just to be like, all right, let's take some of the burden off and just go back to the 20 grand.
Yeah. So. And just doing some quick research on this, and quick disclaimer, we are not tax professionals. Talk to for all the nitty gritty on the legal requirements, but I've got a statement here that says the reinstated threshold applies for tax year 2025 onward, with the first 1099Ks under the new rule being sent in early 2026.
Right, correct. So it's not till 2026.
Correct, but it affects income this year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I said that clear. But yes, that's correct. So we'll see. Oh, sorry.
There's actually a line that it's double requirement. So reinstates the former requirement. A 1099K only must be issued if you receive more than 20K in gross payments and conduct over 200 transactions in a calendar year.
Right. Correct.
So it needs to be both.
Okay. Yeah, I think I said or. Yeah, it would have to be both. Right. Yeah, that makes sense, because if you did one single $20,000 transact, like sold a car or something, that wouldn't necessarily be reported. So yes, that's true. So it'd be 200 transactions and 20 grand. So,
and a quick reminder,
which was what it was before. It was before. So if you're just rewind your accounting brain a little bit to a few years ago, that's right where we're going to be back at. So,
and some quick reminders, that's applies to federal taxes only. States can still require something totally different. Yep. And whether you get a 1099 or not, you are still legally required to disclose all of your income on your tax.
You have to report all income. So this is just a statement on what's happening with 1099s, and it's not an opinion, it's not a tax advice, it's simply what's in the bill. It's literally in there and it's law, and this is what's happening. So I just wanted to make mention of it because I knew it was going to be enough. It was going to be something that people here would want to know. If you haven't looked into the bill, it's in there, so go check it out if you have any questions or want to verify it or whatever. But just wanted to put it out.
Yeah. Boomslang says YouTube 1099 them for $300.
Yep. They 1099 you for, as far as I know, as long as they send you a payment, you're going to get it. So it could have been 15 cents and you're going to get it 1099.
Yeah.
So, but again, doesn't matter. Like Charlie said, if you made $300, you made $300. You need to report it. So,
yeah.
But you just don't want to miss a 1099. That's not something you want to get into. So, again, I just wanted to make mention of it that's what they're going to. As far as reporting requirements.
Yeah. Gators Rock Tim T, he says his opinion is a 15% flat tax would be better.
Yeah, and a lot of people do believe that. And there's a lot of let's just call them first world countries that's what they do. They don't do tax returns anymore. They don't, or they do like a sales tax or whatever. You have to have the money. You need to get the money somehow. But that can just be simpler than, like, filing returns is a pain in the butt and nobody really wants to do it. And it's complicated, and look at how much it changes all the time. It went from this much, now it goes to this much. So now you're planning, okay, well, if I'm over 2,500, I'm going to have to pay this or report this. And then now that changes. And like, yeah. So I'm not saying I agree with you. I'm also saying I don't, I don't also disagree with you. That's just been sort of a path that a lot of other places have taken. It seems to be working for them.
Yeah.
But there's a cost to that too. You don't get your deductions, then you don't get your write-offs, you don't get your depreciations, and so business-wise, it might not be as beneficial to you financially.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So that is our financial news for the week that was.
Yeah. And I always, anytime I have something like that, I want to talk about, because it is important, and we always get the tax questions and all that kind of stuff. I'm always so hesitant to say anything because all it takes is somebody to say, well, you told me this. So trying to keep it as factual as possible. This is what's in the bill. And, you have to talk to your tax accountant and, do whatever you got to do on your side to be ready for that. I just think it's important to have that information so that you're not, I don't know, going, where's my 1099 this year? I didn't get a 1099. Well, that might be why. So it's important to stay up on some of that stuff.
Absolutely. That, and just like the update with reminder that eBay's contract with USPS and perhaps some others, I didn't even check the others, but their rates are going up here shortly. Another week,
Monday,
right? 13th?
On Monday. Yep. Yeah. So go buy your stamps now. They're good forever. So do that if you need stamps. But yeah, we're going to basically be paying a nickel more on our ESEs, sending out cards. So take a look at that, see how that works into your business structure. Do you need to raise your prices? Whatever you got to do to try to figure that out. But yeah, it's going to be, come Monday, all your orders are going to cost you a nickel more to ship out. At least that's on just the stamp price. Obviously it goes up as the ounces go up too. But it was coming. I mean, we actually avoided price hikes for longer than I thought we would. And, it's just, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. There's always an increase every year on stamp price. It's just like my prices have increased. I used to do 99 cents free shipping. I don't do that anymore. So, yeah, you got to price your stuff so that you can stay viable, despite the changes that are costing you now more money.
Got to make money, right? Otherwise, it's
gotta make money. And if you charge shipping, maybe you don't change the prices of your items, but you go in and change your shipping policies and add the nickel there or 10 cents there or whatever you feel like you need to do to help you out with the price increase that's coming.
Amen to that.
Mm.
Johnny
True.
M just showed up. He says, "Evening, guys."
Hey, what's up, Johnny? Thanks for joining us. Ooh, yeah, we haven't had a goat in a while. We don't do as many goats as we used to. Huh?
Yeah, that's true. They've quieted down over the years. They're more mild mannered than they used to be.
Yeah, I would agree. It's very chill. It's goat chill.
Johnny says eBay beta testing extending auctions 2 minutes if a bid is in the final.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, good topic. I forgot about that one. Yeah, so they're gonna do, instead of like a sudden death type of style, which is what eBay's done basically forever, they're gonna do extended bidding.
Right.
I feel like I feel like it was probably necessary. That's how most of the other platforms do it now. It does allow eBay to to generally get a price increase on the sale, which of course is something they want because they get more cut. I think it's more of a benefit to the seller than it is the buyer. You can't really snipe anymore.
Right.
So I thought about this the other night. I was like, okay, well, is there a point in having a sniper? I think there still is, because even if you bid at the last second and it extends it 5 seconds, you might still be the winner. Like that still might be, enough to be in on it. But yeah, it does open the door for somebody else to jump in. But I think sniping has been kind of a frustrating problem for buyers for a long time. And now they don't have to worry about that. Like you don't have to like, oh, I'm watching I can't tell you how many auctions where it's like at $1 and then in the last 8 seconds it's like $3.85. It's like, where the hell all the bids come in,
Right.
And they don't even show you that. It just shows you like, okay, you totally lost and you don't even know what the action was. Because all these robots are hitting the button at the same time. Like I kind of feel like even on the buyer side, this is sort of a win, because you just don't have that bot just constantly defeating you,
Yeah.
set at a certain price. You're going to get a more accurate person who's buying, because they actually have to bid. And sometimes I used to see that when I did more auctions as a seller. I mean, now I do auctions regularly, but it's just dollar stuff. But when I was like auctioning quote unquote real cards, what I'd see a lot is people would put this stuff in their snipers and then they would win and they just wouldn't buy it because they maybe set a snipe up on like 10 different copies of that card, and then they just pay for the one that they got the cheapest.
Right.
So you can't really do that now. Like now you're going to have to actually put time and effort and action into these listings because you can't just snipe it. And it might give you an opportunity as a buyer. Like you go in to put in a bid, it extends the time somebody else bids. Well, maybe now you can get in on an auction somewhere else at the price you're looking for because it's been extended and you can bid now.
Sure.
Versus getting sniped out of it. So I actually think it's a pretty solid change. It makes sense for eBay's business model too. They're trying to go to more action and more live, and like a lot of the community is, as far as selling goods and services, and I shouldn't say services, but goods and collectibles and things. And it makes a lot of sense. Their audience is so huge. Like,
Right.
I mean, the eBay buyer pool is just immense. And imagine if you're just adding 5 seconds on every time someone bids, you could really pump some prices up doing that, good or bad. I think it could increase some shill bidding, but that's just, they're going to have to manage that. They're going to have to watch for it.
Yeah, I haven't had any recent experiences with snipers. I do remember when I first started getting back into this, I was doing more buying on eBay, just kind of getting my feet wet on that. And the snipers would come in all the time and grab stuff at the end. And it really pissed me off, to the extent that I tried a sniping program for a while just for like a free trial period. And I was like, okay, now I get it why they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I went away from it as well because it wasn't something I felt I needed to pay for, first of all, and two, I'm not buying on a lot of auctions, but I can kind of see both sides of the argument on the sniping tools. So time will tell what the reaction will be to that. I think actually Gators has a good point here. Extending auctions work great on the eBay Live auctions, and if I had to guess, that's why they're making the change.
Right. Now, what they also could do to help themselves is let people sell on eBay Live. That would be neat.
There's plenty of people selling on eBay Live. What do you
That
mean?
would be neat if they would allow people to sell on eBay Live that want to sell on eBay Live. I have a solution for that problem for them. Yeah, no, I think you're right. And we have to keep in mind that, I mean, eBay got started in what, like 1993 or something?
Yeah.
And they honestly haven't changed
A whole lot.
like their main structure ever since that time. And things are just different now. There wasn't even snipers then, and people weren't watching auctions like a hawk and flipping cards, and like that wasn't even a thing. You're just seeing so much more of that deployment now. Bots are like, if you say, "Oh, I got beat out by a bot," like somebody knows exactly what that means, right?
Yeah.
If you said that to somebody in 1991, they're like, "What the hell? Like some
Yeah.
robot kicked your butt?" Like, even the terminology has, changed what we think of it. But this is just where we're at now. There's more action on stuff. They want to get more action. You get those emotional bids, kicked in. Oh my God, they added 5 more seconds. I better put another $1 on this. The original intent for eBay's online auction was for you to put your bid in to the maximum price you would pay. That was it. Okay. Cards at $1, you're willing to pay 10, you put your price in at 10. Not to not bid at all and just tell a bot that you're going to go in at $10, and then it tries to do that for you at the end. Like, that's not what they were trying to do. And that's really how it's been now for years. The sniper world has ruled auction sales. And think about how much less cards sell for at auction than they do buy it now. They need to make up that difference somewhere. Like, they need auctions to be a viable part of an online auction site.
Yeah.
So this just adds to that. And those who don't do eBay Live or can't do eBay Live or won't qualify for eBay Live, this gives them an option to at least be able to get cards out there and get some more action versus just a straight, sudden death. When it ends, it ends.
Yeah. And Johnny talks about exactly what you said there. He says he always starts his bid at whatever the high is he's willing to pay for it. If he doesn't win, so be it. I'm not willing to overpay, and I don't have fear of missing out.
And that is the correct way to do it as a buyer, but we all know that people want to be the winner, and the FOMO and all that. And honestly, from eBay's perspective, they're like, that's great because that will get us more money.
Yeah.
And the sellers, same. That's why I said I think it's more of an advantage for a seller because that's something that you can capitalize on then as well.
Yeah.
Making auctions a little bit more viable. Now I list, whatever my maximum auction amount is. We talked about auctions this weekend at the show. I list my maximum every month, and sometimes I get action, sometimes I don't. This month was the first month this is the month that I've sold the most on auction. And I'm like, is that because this change is coming and now people are looking at eBay auctions more? I don't know. So I just found that kind of interesting that it sort of happened at the same time I was getting more sales there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because people are just trying to pick up the cards now because they know they'll start going for more once there is a more live action, bidding process to cards that are ending. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not opposed to it. I mean, especially if it helps me get a few more bucks on my auction sales, I would love to sell more regular auctions.
Yeah.
And then, and maybe that's it. Maybe they'll literally just open eBay Live then at that point, because they'll be like, well, what difference does it make if people can just list regularly on an auction and it gets a time reload? Why not just let them do it live? What difference does it make then?
Right.
Whether you listed it or you're doing it on camera, it's, anybody should be able to do it.
Yeah. Dr. Mantis is with us. Call back to the eBay shipping rates going up. Tracking will still suck, even though you're paying more for it.
Yep.
It's
a service, and service can have issues, unfortunately.
Yeah. Bargain Boxer series says, as a buyer, he hates this. He's been sniping on eBay since 97. This is great for eBay and sellers. This sucks.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an advantage for the seller.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, anytime you're going to add more time and allow people to put more money on it is going to be better for the guy selling it.
Yeah.
There's no way to see that as an advantage to the buyer, but
Yeah.
unless you forgot to put your snipe in and now you see the auction, you're like, oh good, I got 5 more seconds to try to get my bid in on this. I forgot to deploy my sniper. But yeah, and I'm with you. I've used a sniper for probably about that long as well, and anytime I buy on eBay, I don't look at the auction, I don't watch the auction, I don't do nothing. I just throw the item number right in my sniper, and if I get it, it'll tell me later.
Yeah.
I don't go look at it. So, but it's happening. So you're gonna have to figure out some way to work with it. Hopefully you can.
Yep. And then he says 21 days. Let's go.
Woo! We'll see you there for sure. I know, where did we meet last time? Because I met you in Chicago last time. I don't know. We were at one of the bargain box tables somewhere. But yeah, huh? Yeah,
How weird! You guys,
I know, right? Imagine. I'm only there for like 36 hours in the 3 days.
right?
For 4 days. But yeah, we'll put something in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you join that. The little scans coming across the bottom here. But in that national channel on the Discord, I'll put something in there about a potential meet and greet time, and we'll wait for a few minutes, see who wants to join us. We'll go get something to eat or get some coffee, whatever everybody wants to do, and then have some hangout time. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So hope to see you.
So going back to eBay sniping changes, he says he'll be buying all his cards at card shows and card shops.
Yeah, you might have to.
Yeah. Got to do what you got to do, right?
You might still be able to get a better deal on an eBay auction than at those places, though. Might not be as good a deal as what you were getting with snipes, but yeah, I mean, still traditional auctions, generally items sell for less than they do at, just a retail asking setting.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on what you're looking for, I guess.
Well, we got one more chat and we're caught up again. 8 thumbs up. Dollar Box is underrated. Dollar Box is underrated. Goat. That took me a while to decipher all that there.
I appreciate that. My purpose with any of this is just to try to share some information, get some conversation, and we can all help each other out. I've gotten a lot of good tips and tricks. A lot of the things I do now came from Discord, this chat. And I know I've been able, and Charlie too, of course, have been able to help others with things that they're, stuck on or have questions on. So, just trying to pay it forward. I've had people help me over the years with stuff. I'm trying to do that as well. And it's very positive. Our community is very positive. We stay away from all it's hard nowadays. It's super hard. I don't care what group you're in. There's just so much crap all the time. It seems like drama, whatnot. And we really don't have that. It's just a really fun group of people. We all just try to help each other, and we don't take it too seriously. We have fun and encourage each other. And hey, good job, or way to go, or you might want to look at this more before you buy this. It's just very, very helpful, very encouraging, and just a positive place to be. I never worry about pulling up the Discord and going, oh my God, now we got this again, like I do with Facebook and Instagram. Like there's all the other things that's out there. That's part of it. Obviously those are bigger communities too, but we want to grow our community, but we want to grow it with positive members and good people. And I think having a resource for that is very valuable to all of us.
Yeah.
So good job, everybody. Thanks everybody who has joined the Discord and for participating and keeping it positive and, encouraging and all those things. That's really what we're going for.
For sure. Well, we've gone past the 2-hour mark. You got anything else tonight?
I don't think I do. Do you remember what I was talking about before we started the show? We always get so late into the topics that I did the 1099 stuff. We did the shows. We did the national kind of preview talk we do every week up to it. We discussed pineapple on pizza and why it shouldn't be there.
The only other thing we talked about was more of if we had time and needed to go there, but we talked about maybe going through some of our pickups from KI show. But we had a full show with the chat and the topics already.
And most of this, I do have a couple little things, literally little things that I want to show that I picked up. Do we got a quick minute to do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So you guys know my affinity for non-sport. So there was a dealer at this show that had vintage celebrity cards from like Germany and Italy and, other countries. So I picked some of them up. I was pretty excited about this. So we've got this Maureen O'Hara, who of course played a lot of damsel type roles, right? Yeah, Gone with the Wind is obviously her most famous role. And then I've got Doris Day here, very famous movie queen.
Icon got in your time.
Bridget Bardot, the sex symbol. Did you know she's still alive? I saw a list of like oldest celebrities the other day, and she's like way up there. I think she's like
98.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 98. That's crazy. Why do you know that? I
drink beer and I know things.
Okay, well, you follow Bridget Bardot very closely, I guess. But I really like the photo of her. She's got a great smile. It's really kind of a good depiction of what she did when she was on film. And anyway, so pretty cool one there. And then I got let's see, who's this? Bing Crosby, my favorite crooner type person of all time. His Christmas album was amazing. Yeah. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, right? I mean, he literally was the first person to ever sing that, and think about how huge that song is.
Yeah.
And great films. I always like White Christmas. We watch it every year. And just a great little picture of him here with a little boat with a little troll motor on it, and he's got his hat on, and loved it. So I had to have that. And then what's the other one? This is Clark Gable and Jean MacDonald. I don't know much about her, but I definitely know who Clark Gable is. Oh, yeah. And I just wanted something different than the other ones. There was a Clark Gable of that regular like cigarette card, but I liked this one. This one has all the German on the back. And it's from Lloyd Cigarettes, or as it's said in German, Zigaretten.
Okay.
Anyway, it has that down there on the back too. So I just really liked. It's got like a little bit of like I don't want to say foil, but it's got like the gold on it. Has like a leafing to it almost.
Okay.
I thought it was a cool card, cool vintage. Don't know what year it's from. 1948 maybe. But yeah, so not something I see at shows very often, and I just thought it was cool. Some nice stuff there. So this was 3, 6, 3, 2, and $3 on the stickers. I think I paid $8 for the whole thing, so I got a pretty good deal on it too. Maybe it was 10. But we got 9, 12, 14, 17. So $10 for 17 sticker priced. I thought that was a pretty good deal on.
Yeah, I did end up finding that table later in the show, and I kind of looked through it a little bit, but I think you had grabbed most of the names I knew.
Yeah, I was kind of the first one at his table, so played the advantage card there. Normally, when I would look at something like this, bring one of these back out, but it's just like this little card. There's nothing on the back. You're like, how do I know this is real? So I talked to the dealer. He definitely didn't seem like a scam artist. And he had tons of this kind of stuff graded for sale there as well. He had a lot of graded cards. A lot of them from these same sets. So I'm like, well, why would he have graded copies and then like fake raw ones? Didn't make a lot of sense. That also gave me the ability to kind of compare them. So I had some graded cards. I was kind of looking at them, trying to make sure the size was similar, things like that. And they were very real to me. They looked very true to what they should look like raw. So I had a lot more confidence then in picking those up. But how often do you see a Bing Crosby card or a Bridget Bardot
Yeah.
card? It's not something that pops up in those old time true Hollywood royalty type stuff when Hollywood was Hollywood and mattered. That stuff doesn't show up real often, and they're in good shape. They're in real nice condition besides.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very excited about those. I think that's a cool addition. Most of them will get listed in the store. I have a strong feeling that I'm going to keep the Bing Crosby though. I just don't ever see Bing Crosby stuff, and I love his stuff.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. I'm a huge Christmas guy. November 1st, you'll see my Mariah Carey shirt. I'll make sure I wear it for everyone. It's her time to shine. So
Sure.
yeah. So I was pretty excited about that. A little bit of a different pickup. I just thought I'd show those.
Yeah, that's definitely something unique. Those cigarette cards. The last couple of years I've been in this crazy world. I don't remember seeing them ever at any of the shows we were at.
And if you think about like cigarette card prices in that condition for baseball, the price would be outrageous. So the fact that I was getting these for $3, $4, whatever, and then even to get a decent bulk price on it in the end, it just seemed like why not,
Yeah.
And how often do you see German cigarette cards? Like that's not even, and he said they're hard to find. Like he was been chasing this stuff for years, and he's like, yeah, it's getting hard to find some of the bigger names and things like that. So yeah, pretty cool. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
He's also a Harry Houdini collector, and I'm like, who the hell else PC's Harry Houdini?
Yeah,
Well, ironically, you do too, which I always thought was strange too. But yeah, he's like, so do you collect? Do you do? And I said, yeah, I PC, and I told him about Favre and that kind of thing, and I said, yeah, and I also PC Houdini, and I thought he would be like, okay, that's weird, but he was like, me too. I was like, no kidding. No wonder you're the guy buying all the Houdini cards, so I can't get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting to meet somebody else kind of that thinks along those same lines. But he has a bunch of Kakawal stuff, he said too. He just didn't bring any of that. He went with the vintage.
Okay.
Yeah, he likes the Disney 100 stuff. So
Sure. Yeah.
So that was cool. For as much Pokemon as there was, and other things that I wasn't really interested in buying, that dealer alone made it like a pretty cool show for me. Something different. And I know you bought a V-Friends card.
I did buy a V-Friends card. It's up on the shelf
goat.
behind me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could show that off as your unique pickup.
Let's see here if I can grab it without knocking stuff down over here. Well, my affinity for anything goats, so I had to get
There he is, a shiny goat.
What is it? Kind Kudu? Yep.
Oh, that's what it says. Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't know who these characters are. I know V-Friends is coming out with like children's storybook lines and an animated show or an animated download series, streaming series, something like that. So I think you're going to see more V-Friends going forward. I don't think that's really going to go away at this point. That might be something I pick up too if I can find some decent bulk or some decent, cheap parallel type stuff or something. I wouldn't mind adding some V-Friends into my inventory.
Yeah, they're kind of hitting a surge again, right?
Yep. And I have plenty of space in my non-sports store, so I can kind of buy all day long on that stuff and not have to think about, well, how long do I have to hang on to this till I can list it, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. So. And then I picked up just some kind of three things I hit. A quarter box that you and I were both sitting at for a while. I got a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then I picked up a bunch of patches from a dealer I work with just about every show I stop by. He's usually got a table set up near us, and that's where I got all those poker chips from initially.
Yep.
I always go back every show and see what he's got. And he didn't disappoint. He had some interesting things. One of the things I got just for the sheer curiosity fact is this passport to the majors. So I
Oh,
saw
that's
that
right.
as
The
I was
passport. Yeah.
thumbing through the box, and I was like, well, this is an interesting design. You don't even know who this is when you see this card. And even on the back, doesn't really tell you anything, although it is
Right.
numbered out of 1200, I think. Yeah, numbered out of 1200 there.
Okay.
So I had to pull it out of a sleeve and open it up, and then you get like a passport like booklet for Pedro Martinez, and then there's a little this way. There's some memorabilia in there as well. That's cloth material in there. I don't know if it's game used. I didn't really
Is it
game
older?
worn jersey, authentic
Yeah.
game worn jersey.
If it's older, it's going to be game worn. They only did game worn back in the day.
Yeah,
which is the way it should be. That's the way
this
it should
is from 2001.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Awesome piece.
Yeah. Like,
what'd you pay for that?
I paid less than $5. So I did it as a bundle. He had it for $5. I paid a little bit less than that. But with that bundle, so basically what I did was $35 for this and this 50 card set of Jordan Upper Deck Legacy.
There you go.
2010. Yeah,
that's fine. By
50 Jordan cards for less than $1 a card. You know, it ended up being like 60 cents a card, plus this in the bundle. So I was like, that'll do. I was telling you, I don't really have a lot of Jordan in my store. Yeah. So even though this was a set after his playing days and is generally a low end set, I'm like, I have to have some Jordan. So that's a perfect way for me to get some out there buying a complete set. Mm-hmm. So
I bought that complete set of that Baseball Hall of Famer set where you get the SP Jordan card in it. Remember we saw those last time Mike Neer had them? I pulled the trigger on one of those this weekend too. So I picked up a more rare Jordan card as well for a good price. And that set is cool because it's got like all the main players, Mantle and all that stuff, but it has like some different rule stuff in it from the game. It's got who's the guy who invented baseball? I can't think of his name off.
Abner Doubleday.
Doubleday. It's got a card of Doubleday with a picture of him on there, and just cool little set. $10. It's like 35 cards plus the Jordan card or something like that. Yep. Felt like that was a no-brainer. Sealed, so I know everything's there. Otherwise, like stuff like that, the mantles are always gone, that kind of thing. So I was pretty excited about that. I thought that was a good buy.
Yeah, and then things that catch my eye that are just cool design I get. So I picked up this, what is it, 2000, 2001, 2002 Fleer Tradition School Ties insert with game-worn shorts there from Elton Brand. I just love the way it's the old, notebook from school. And
yep.
I would imagine there's a different version with, memorabilia.
2 jerseys, all 3 jerseys, one of the other players. Yeah, they do combinations of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice Jeter there. I'm sure
with the red foil.
Yeah, you're familiar with that card.
Oh yeah.
A nice Glavine snowman card there. Refractor.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah, very cool.
By the way, I saw your post on the Jeter today, so I had to reply.
You saw me post on a Jeter?
Yeah, you said, "Oh, who's this guy?" Or "This guy's pretty good," or "I think I
work out."
That's what it was. Yeah. Boy, did he work out.
I like to have fun with Jeters. And then I also picked up a cool card. This is somewhat iconic for the photo. I've heard of this card before. Not a big card by any means, but one of the reasons I love Stadium Club. This is a 2023 actually, but it's an old Yankees player just sitting there with a guitar in the stand. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Stadium Club is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, if you're a fan of photography, nothing beats Stadium Club. Not even close.
nice Ichiro there, a little
Yeah.
foil sparkle.
What do you
Uh,
think of photogenics?
I've gotten some photogenics. I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's on par with Stadium Club? Because I don't. I
I
know
don't
that's like
think so. Yeah.
yeah, because that was like Panini's shot at, you know, Stadium Club, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
they kept it pretty simple, right? There's barely a border, and it's all this good photography and all that, and I agree. I'm like, man, it's still not Stadium Club, not even
Another
close.
another Jeter Select 96.
That guy's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really got a chance to do something and be successful in the league. I mean,
Yeah, he's gonna start a company called Arena, and then they're gonna trade cards with me. Um, just not Derek. He just refuses to reply. So
I did find also a bunch of Ben Baller
yeah,
variations.
those were from
Were,
me.
were they?
Yeah,
They
those were
might
out of
have
my
been out of
box.
your box. They
Yeah, they
might
were
have
out of
been
my
out of your
box.
box. Yeah,
I
yeah.
got I got a huge lot of them at some point. I bought a big lot of, ironically enough, Stadium Club baseball stuff and Stadium Club Chrome. And there was a stack of those in there, so I just threw them in the box. There weren't big names or anything, but they're cool cards.
Yeah, I did. That's right. So one of the things Adam and I do is we both go there with value boxes, and we end up digging through each other's value box and taking some of the things out of each other's box. So you found the auto in mine,
I
didn't you?
did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
found the auto. I bought it. It's already been listed, so
I
I'll
made
let
you
you
work
know
for it though.
as soon as it sells. You will be knowing. You will be
My
notified.
my favorite card of the day.
Yeah, the blank sketch.
Picked up the sketch card. We'll see what future piece of artwork comes from that.
I think you should draw a goat on it.
That's not a bad idea.
I know it's not a bad. It's a great idea. And then you can
Bunch
put
of other
like
stuff though.
the
I didn't
goat
even take out
show.
of the bag yet.
Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot of work on my stuff either. I got 4 or 5 giant stacks here of stuff that I picked up, and yeah, it'll happen eventually, but not today.
Yep, for sure. Oh,
So,
I had a Burt Blyleven in the football stack.
oops.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That's
One
okay.
of these things,
If you're scanning, the scanner doesn't care.
one of these things is not like the other. Nice Leonard Williams die cut USC. Do I remember Leonard Williams? I do not.
No,
But
me either.
everybody knows USC, and that's a damn cool die cut insert. So
Yep. Press Pass may actually make some pretty cool cards.
yeah. Yep. If
So,
anybody wants this, let's see, what was it from 97? Whoo,
yeah,
97. So
97 is where it's at.
25-year-old Bazooka Joe Gum, I'm your hookup. I will get that over to you.
I did pick up a card for my PC too, which it's been a while.
Did you?
Yeah, well, actually, you found it originally, and then I
Yeah.
found more copies of it, so I bought them all. But the sample
That's right.
of
Yeah.
from the Brett Favre 10 set, which was from 97, of course, scoreboard. So you can see it's got embossed on here sample. I of course have the base version, but found a bunch of these. I bought all of them. It's got a great photo of him his rookie year in his Falcons jersey, which is very popular. Him as a Falcon cards sell well, so I was excited about that. It's nice to pick up something for my PC and then, but at the same point, get a couple extra copies to list in my store because Favre stuff sells so well for me to have something new and cool like that will definitely help me move some other Favre cards.
Yeah. I did hit one hockey score for the day too, I think. At least I remember this guy, and I'm not a big hockey fan, but I did get the game used Chris Pronger memorabilia card. And I
think he's in the Hall of Fame.
I think you might be right. And I got
so jersey card of a Hall of Famer is always acceptable.
most of these memorabilia cards, if not all of them, I think I got for a little less than $1 a card. So,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something else I would look for at the National. We didn't really talk about that much, but I would look for like a big stack of jersey cards that are cheap.
Yep.
You know, sometimes you'll find a box like that, and autos, like
Yep.
low end autos. If I can find a big stack at 50 cents, dollar a card, whatever it is, I'd like to add
Like
some more of
this.
that.
Somebody
Yeah,
tell me who Malachi Flynn is. I don't know, but the price was right.
I know who he is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Or Vincent Cavalier?
The Caviar, yeah,
Caviar?
Cavalier. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was pretty big back in the day, hockey player. That's on card too, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of hockey autos, that's for sure. So that's probably
Yeah.
good that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But all right, well, I think we should hang it up. We're at 2.5 here. That's good enough. Time for bed.
Yes.
So, anything else to add?
Nothing else for me. Just remember, when you see the goat, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
And remember, I was interrupting goat there. And remember, you can't sell what you don't list. We'll see you all next week, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Peace out.